Welcome back, my fellow patriots, to the Save Our Republic Daily video series. Today we are discussing a continuation of the Preamble of the Constitution. I will get to the point where we will pick up. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What does that mean? It kind of sounds like people are at home and they're being tranquil, relaxing, maybe having a little bit of scotch or having a little bit of popcorn or watching a movie, no fighting among the family. That's not so far away from what the founders were talking about. What they meant is that we should have a nation in which the people would be able to look to the government to ensure their security and safety. And this comes across in a couple of different ways. The second way is actually the next phrase of the preamble, so we'll skip that other than to say domestic tranquility could mean not having an invasion and protecting your borders and your country's security through a military force. Because if the British are burning down your home or the Soviet Union is launching a military strike against you, you can't have much domestic tranquility. But really what they were really driving at by this particular phrase was that at the time after the revolution and before the adoption of the Constitution, there were many threats to our domestic tranquility. There were uprisings with regard to taxation and the enforcement of justice. And I'll point one out which gets a tremendous amount of attention, which is called Shay's Rebellion, in which a group of disgruntled creditors shut down the courts and of a particular state and really threatened to, in essence, overthrow the established government. And this through shockwaves across the country of the bound at that point by the Articles of Confederation, and a number of people, including Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, thought that we needed to have a stronger constitution to ensure that those kinds of protests and uprisings, especially with arms and military force, would not be able to succeed. It's interesting because you have a revolutionary generation of founding fathers and mothers who threw off unjust government through military force in connection with our founding first principles to protect those of the rule of law, unalienable rights, limited government, the social compact, equality, and the right to alter, abolish, and oppressive government. And then when they have succeeded, they do not want to have more tumult facing them. And that is because they believed that they had created a society that was based on those foundations of a free and just government, that it was protecting inalienable rights, it was securing the social compact, that it had a limited government, and that established equality, etc. And so they felt that there was no need for a violent uprising now that the British had been thrown off and there was self-government within the newly established states. You can think of more recent examples. The one that sparked this whole video series was some people call it an insurrection, riot, the storming, whatever you want to call it, of the U.S. Capitol on January 6th of 2021, shook the foundation of the federal government by having the takeover of the Capitol, stopping business in the Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives. And so obviously that was extremely concerning. Go back a few months before that, and we have riots in the streets in Minneapolis. We have areas that are taken over in Seattle that they call themselves their own autonomous zones. You had riots in a variety of other major metropolitan areas. Go back to the 60s. We had huge riots across the country. The Civil War, other insurrections, as well as riots and protests across the country. So this is really a fundamental part of the government, that we have a government based on a social compact to protect our unalienable rights. and that we are supposed to govern ourselves through legal processes and have bloodless revolutions through elections and through amendments to the Constitution and through changing of laws, ballot initiatives, whatever it might be, and not to take arms and to try to overthrow the government or to try to take direct action through violent means to get your way, through intimidation, through kidnapping, through murder, whatever it is. And so a fundamental point of the Constitution is to protect our domestic tranquility. And hopefully we will remember that as these tumultuous times continue, that we need to take a deep breath. And as I keep saying in this series, love each other, find meaning in life, a deep meaning in life through whatever means outside of yourself, and to give a strong, embracing hug to the Constitution so that we can continue to live in freedom and security. If the foundations of a domestic tranquility get shattered, the next thing that happens is that normally what happens is a strong man or a woman or a military junta or political party, whatever, takes control to provide security, quashing the unalienable rights of the people and moving us out of a free and just society and into one of oppression. So we need to make sure that we are vigilant to protecting our freedoms and liberties by ensuring domestic tranquility in a fair and just way. And that's always a challenge. We need to do it fairly and justly, and we also need to do it so that there is no opportunity for tumult, violence, intimidation, and oppression to take over the day. Until next time, don't forget about America's Survival Guide at americasurvivalguide.com, Patriot Week at patriotweek.org, the Patriot Lessons American History and Civics podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. God bless you, and God bless America.